Hey everyone, hello. It is Whimsy, and we are going to be doing another tarot reading, and we are going to be talking a little bit about last night's meditation. Last night's meditation was a pretty interesting meditation, and I never really know where my mind is going to go. I never know what's going to show up in a meditation. And I'm always pleasantly surprised when I bring something back that I can share with everyone. Okay, so the first area that I found myself floating around in last night's meditation was Jared Kushner. That was the first thing that started to just following energy like I always do. Now, just a side note, people have talked about different techniques to be able to feel or sense what's going on in the world. You have the more traditional remote viewing that's very unemotional. It's, you just focus on a target. Then there's the more yin or feminine way of getting in. There's two ways to get information from a witness. The first is torture, which doesn't work, and the second is to try and get the witness to talk by being nice to them, or kind, or compassionate, showing love and compassion. Usually you're going to catch more flies with honey than you are with vinegar. So that is, and since it's been said that 90% of what human beings do is done based solely on emotions and not logic. Perhaps that is why meditations that are heart-centered, done from a place of respect and compassion, are effective in terms of finding out what's going on in the collective consciousness. So last night, Kushner came in, and specifically I felt when I was in that energy like the feds were really, really, really honing in on Jared Kushner's businesses. And his businesses and the relationship between his businesses and why he couldn't get security clearances. So we're going to start seeing leaks and information coming out probably in the next few weeks, where we really see them honing in on Kushner's businesses, just because it's coming up in the collective a lot. I'm picking up on it, which means that it's probably going to break pretty soon. It goes back to that thing that I keep seeing when I tune into the Trump family and the Kushner family, and that is the feds really chasing the money, going after the money. And right now they're just all over Kushner's businesses. The second meditation, it was the same concept, the feds going after the money, zeroing in on the money, but this time it was with Donald Trump. And they were focusing, I'll be very specific, they were focusing specifically on money laundering. And to be even more specific, the area that when I asked the question, where was the money laundered, when I went into that meditation, I had a vision of Donald Trump on a golf cart at one of his golf resorts, one of his golf clubs. So what it appears to be, what I'm feeling when I go into the meditation, is that he was inflating his assets. He was inflating his profits on his properties, on his golf resorts and his golf clubs, claiming earnings that didn't exist as a way of, as a haven for laundered money coming from overseas. So basically, there was all this illegal money laundering going on, and then they would cook the books at various different golf resorts, etc., and make it look like they were making a profit when they were all basically belly up. They weren't making any money at all. So that's what the feds are tuning in on, and that's what we're all going to find out about. So that's an example of how Trump would inflate his assets. He would inflate his assets by putting on the books that they had sold a bunch of stuff that they hadn't sold, or were making a bunch of money that they hadn't made at his golf courses, in order to hide the real source of the money, which was money laundering from overseas accounts, etc. All right, so that's about to break, and that was what I picked up on. I had some interesting questions from people to look at when. The first one was, when will the president resign? The most likely outcome is resignation, and I think what happened was he tried to gain control of the narrative after Barr released his 4-page report as a way of rousing the base, raising money. Most likely some of the money being raised for the 2020 campaign will instead go to his legal defense. That's what I'm suspecting. So I haven't done it, but let's see if we can get any information about the question, will Trump resign? And if so, can we get a timeline about it? I'm also concerned about his health. He seems to be exhausted, and there's a lot of stress for obvious reasons. But okay, let's take a look. A timeline on when or if the president will resign. Donald Trump resign, and if so, when? I hear everyone's practicing my shuffle now. That's pretty cool. All right. The base card is the Magician coming into power, having the tools in order to manifest. This is also a manifestation card. It's somebody who has some kind of power or advantage in order to create a situation that they want to create. I also like the Magician card because he's got power above and power below, which is similar to the type of meditation I do in the Kuan Yin meditation. The second card, I always choose a second base card. I know a lot of readers don't, but I do. Is the Page of Cups, which is the card that sends messages of healing. This is a really important card, particularly if you're looking at a situation like the political climate which has become so toxic. It's nice to see that anytime cups come in, like a Page of Cups, which is messages of healing, messages of power, empowerment. I think if there was any spiritual lesson we can take away from this, is that we cannot sit back and expect our leaders to be parents taking care of us. We've had to all seriously look at how we can become a part of collectively deciding the future of our country. There's much more civic involvement now than there has been in the past, and perhaps that is why this is a time in the collective consciousness of the country where we're seeing this kind of magician energy moving in, where we are now taking it upon ourselves rather than waiting for somebody else to fix the problem. Where we are at right now as a country, inverted world. It's a feeling like stalemate, like we are closed off from the rest of the world. We are creating borders and boundaries rather than bridges with the rest of the world. And it's because perhaps we've got a person in the White House right now who's openly a nationalist and has a feeling that this country comes first, without a greater awareness that really we're all in this together, and that it's really one planet, and that we are not an island. And yes, we have to take care of our country, but we also have to understand that it's interconnected with something greater than ourselves. So an inverted world is a failure to perceive of one's place in the world and how one is connected to everyone and everything else. And what crosses that? Emotional confusion, emotional instability. An inverted King of Cups can be a mental health challenge. Water rules the emotions. When a water card is inverted, it can be, particularly something like a King of Cups, it can be emotionally unstable male energy. A man who may be suffering from borderline personality disorder or any kind of emotional lability that puts him in a situation where he's not in control of his own mind. He's not rational. What is above? We can see again this King of Cups, or excuse me, King of Pentacles that keeps coming up. This is a businessman. It can also be a earth sign male, a Taurus. You can see the symbol of the Taurus is on the card. But it can be any earth sign, Virgo also. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy coming above. Businessman energy. And what is below? An inverted Three of Cups can be the end of a celebration, the end of a party, the end of a contract, the end of a celebration, or a sacred contract has been broken. What we sit in the past, an end of conflict or exchange of ideas that may have actually led to some kind of a progress or ability to move the situation forward. So this suggests that there's conflicts. You can see here a Chariot moving in. This suggests on the issue of whether or not the president should resign, that it's probably moving in that direction, because you can see here another man is coming in, possibly an earth sign, and we can see movement here, Chariot. Off the top of my head, I would say it's, if I were going to guess, I would say that the president is going to be replaced by another man who appears to be an earth sign. I just feel like it's so strong because every time we throw cards, this is what happens. I know Cory Booker is an earth sign. I don't know if what Mike Pence's astrological sign is, but we can try and find out. How he harvested the money again. So the cards are starting to repeat themselves. Seven of Pentacles. It was an issue regarding the harvesting of money. Again, money is what takes him out. It's all about the money. And there's Nancy Pelosi's card. People always ask which woman's going to take him out. There are so many people that this president is dealing with, and many of them are women, so I don't think it's one woman that's going to go after the president. It's really more that a lot of people are having issues with the president. In terms of timelines, I usually go with months. Yeah, and you can see here an inverted Ace of Swords again happens with this president. I've pulled this before for his final outcome. So, yes, he will have to leave. He's going to be replaced by, it looks like, a male, possibly an earth sign. If the only wands here, which give us a prediction of date time, is the Five of Wands, so we could theoretically see it moving in the direction of the president leaving. We'll go ahead and tentatively say at the end of May, or approximately a 5-month period. After it passes, after this 5-month period, or we could say the month of May passes, a new energy is moving in. You can see it moving in, and you can see here movement happening with a fire sign male. The party is over. Loses the war. What I want to say about this also, because I did a meditation on what the billionaires were up to, what the millionaires and billionaires are up to, who they would be endorsing. I did a little meditation like that last night, and what I saw or felt was that chaos is not good for the bottom line. Chaos is not good economically, globally. And that open borders, open trade is better for people financially. Unless you're a warmonger and you're making money off of war, most business people want to just have open trade and an end to all of this chaos. So I wanted to see where people were putting their money. Like, I meditated on George Soros, who really is not the big liberal everyone thinks he is. he's really more like a blue dog Democrat, He did put money into Clinton's campaign. I think he'll probably put money into Cory Booker and O'Rourke's campaign. I think the Silicon Valley people will probably put their money towards O'Rourke and maybe a little bit Kamala Harris, I think, because she is based out of California. But yeah, I don't see this president staying much longer. I think he's probably going to be out of there in less than 5 months. Or at the end of 5 months, depending. Okay, so then another question people had asked was, could I look at the health and safety of children globally? That's a huge question. But what I will do is I will just check about the health and welfare of the people at the border and whether or not they're going to be okay and when this is going to get dealt with. And specifically, we'll look at the children. All right, so Spirit, we just want to look at the children on the border, see if they're okay, and when this nightmare is going to come to an end. What is going on with the border? No deal. Stalemate. 4 of Cups right now. Not taking offers, stalemate, a chronic situation of stress, anxiety. 9 of Cups inverted is a chronic situation, insomnia, trouble sleeping, fear, anxiety, panic attacks, pain in the shoulders, neck, and head. If it's inverted, it could be an energy that's coming to an end or an energy that's been around for a while. Where we're at right now, Ace of Wands is moving in. So to be honest with you, it really feels like the global pressure, the economic community is done with this president. I just can't stress it enough. They have washed their hands of this president. He's too erratic. He's exhausting. He exhausts everyone around him, and the American people are exhausted. They just want quiet, calm, and stable. They hunger for it. They hunger for stability. They hunger for calm. And so that's why I think Pete Buttigieg is going to do so well, is because that is exactly what people want. They want a calm, sane, rational person to take control of the situation and just stop the chaos. There's a real hunger for that by 2020. And so calm, peaceful, soft-spoken is actually going to be an advantage. And this is why the loud, aggressive energy of those candidates that were getting all of the attention at the beginning of the 220 campaign or 2020 campaign will probably not get very far because people are just exhausted by it. I really got the impression that Joe Biden didn't even want to run, that contrary to what people may think, I saw a lot of conflict with that, and he has said he only wants to do one term, and the only reason he wants to come back is to stabilize the country. But if Bloomberg gets in, then Biden basically says, "Great, I won't have to run." So I don't see Joe Biden taking the presidency, but I could be completely wrong. So we'll just have to see. Bernie Sanders, the same thing. I just see he has trouble getting it off the ground this year. Kamala Harris, very, very popular in California. I don't see her taking the Midwest, and I think she's going to have problems in swing states like Virginia, and definitely she'll have challenges in Florida. Same with Jay Inslee, John Delaney, Marianne Williamson, Tulsi Gabbard, and John Hickenlooper. That's why I dismissed those candidates and just felt like it wasn't going to go well for them. I'm on the fence about Beto O'Rourke because his energy is all over the place and people say he doesn't say anything of substance. However, when I tuned in energetically to who was donating, I saw that a lot of the young, wealthy, Silicon Valley, Google, those types of young, brilliant entrepreneurs, tech people will probably be getting behind Beto O'Rourke. I thought Julian Castro would do well in Florida. But my top candidates were, I'll say it again, Amy Klobuchar, because people want calm, nice, stable. So when I meditated on that kind of energy, the top 7 candidates were Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker. Remember, they want calm, peaceful, sweet, nice energy. Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Kirsten Gillibrand, Andrew Yang. And then the person that stands out different from all of those is Elizabeth Warren. And even though Elizabeth Warren is more of a fighter, I felt like she would still be in the top 7 because she's talking about economic disparity and she knows what she's talking about. So Ace of Wands coming in. And it looks like the situation's probably going to dramatically change by the end of August. We can see an 8 of Wands moving in and inverted. It can be 8 months or August, but usually I call the 8 of Wands my August card. But we're going to see a definite movement within a month. I can't stress enough how much the global community, the millionaires and billionaires, are tired of this president. He does not command the support people think he does. And he doesn't even command the support of Fox for much longer. You can see here again the sun moving in, enlightenment, awareness, knowledge, the time of the sun. I just can't imagine those poor immigrants stuck in those horrific living conditions in Texas and Southern California without air conditioning. Very, very bad situation, very dangerous situation. So by this summer, we're going to probably have to see some of this stuff being shut down. You can see the charity card moving in, compassion, empathy, caring for those who cannot care for themselves. 6 of Pentacles moving in. A situation we were defeated, that had felt defeated in the past. Lost the war, and the final outcome coming out of a situation that we had mixed feelings about, that we had to decide, that there was some conflict. This is a 2 of Pentacles, and that can be that there were some there were economic concerns, there were debates about how to resolve the situation, but it's now moving into a humanitarian crisis, and you can see here Lovers coming in. Hopes and fears. Fear of our own inhumanity. Inverted Knight of Cups with an inverted Queen of Swords next to each other. Just baseless cruelty, sadomasochism. Our own capacity to be inhuman becomes something that terrifies us about our own country. And unfortunately, our history is something that we have not totally made peace with. And the final outcome, you can see death and heartbreak here. 4 of Swords, inability to hang it up. The Death card inverted in 3 of Swords. The most honest way for me to interpret these cards is that the summer is coming. The summer is coming, the time of heat, and unfortunately that will see an increase in casualties from heat exposure and living conditions, increased overcrowding at some of the shelters and the facilities where they're keeping people. And I'm sorry to say the living conditions could rapidly deteriorate once the temperatures go up, and at that point I believe the American people will be done and it will be shut down. But I'm sorry to say we're going to unfortunately have to witness some stuff that might not be so great in the summer. So to keep that from happening, we all want to be sending prayers, positive energy, love, and compassion so that it doesn't get to that point. The good news about the cards is that we have free will and free choice, and I always give positive readings. And so when we go into the future and we see potential problems like that, we now have the opportunity to make sure that that doesn't happen by appealing to our representatives now, so that, you know, August comes around, we don't have a situation like that happening. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. This video of Tarot with Whimsy. If you're still trying to get in, yes, I have openings for this week, and I would love to give you a reading. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
So is Shen Yun your favorite ballet, Mila? I know you like to watch the ballet. I think of all the ballets I've put on so far, this is the one you seem to be the most fixated on. And I think I figured it out. It's because the dancers have strings and they're dangling strings, if you take a look at the video. And therein lies the secret of why a cat, you see what's going on here? You see what these ladies are doing? Yes, herein lies the secret of why a cat would be fixated on this video.